Yes, I see. Well, if that's how you feel, obviously I can't persuade you otherwise. Goodbye. Cecil won't join the team for this quiz competition either, Vera.
Oh, dear.
Just because he had a heart bypass operation last week. Honestly, of all the feeble excuses.
As I said, Eleanor, dear, I'd be very happy to be a member of the team myself.
Yes, I don't think we're quite reduced to that yet, Vera. You know how nervous you get on big occasions, and there'll be some pretty stiff opposition. Clare's in the Building Society team. Of course. Angus McLeish, ideal. He used to have a photographic memory.
Well, that sounds good.
Ah, hello. It's Eleanor here. Eleanor Prescott. Prescott. You remember we did the Gay Gordons together at the Save the Mallard Ball in 1975? Eleanor. Look, is that Angus McLeish? Oh, sorry to have troubled you.
Was that Angus McLeish?
He couldn't remember.
Oh, dear.
There must be somebody in the bridge club who's sharp, intelligent, knowledgeable on the ball. Oh, very well, Vera. Life's all a matter of compromises, isn't it?
With what sport do you associate the name of Cassius Clay?
Cassius Clay. Clay pigeon shooting.
No, Claire, boxing.
Oh.
That's 14 out of 18. You sure this is helping? You're never going to get the same questions coming up in the actual quiz.
That's not the point. This just gets your mind working the right way.
All right. What is Nick-a-Nan night?
What is what?
Nick-a-Nan night.
I don't know. The night when all the grannies in the world take off their knickers and wave them in the air.
Don't be frivolous. Nick-a-Nan night is the name given in Cornwall to the evening before Shrove Tuesday.
Oh, but that's ridiculous. Nick-a-Nan night. Well, that'd never come up in a general knowledge quiz, and don't count that one.
Now, you mustn't be a bad loser, Claire.
I am not being a bad loser. It's just the question's unfair. No one knows things like that.
Well, presumably Cornish men do.
I'm not a Cornishman, am I?
Who said politics is like boxing, you try to knock out your opponent?
Margaret Thatcher?
Not quite, Idi Amin.
Oh. Well, I was close. Half a point?
No, Claire, that's 14 out of 20. Right, that's it. Got to get to work.
But it's Saturday.
Oh, I promised Russell I'd help him sort out some books from an auction. Anyway, you said you only wanted me to do 20 questions.
Yes, but I meant go on till I get 20 right.
Claire, that could take forever. Oh, right. Very quickly. Who was known as the serpent? Come in, Mother!
Good afternoon, Sarah. Claire?
Won't be a sec, Mother. Nearly finished.
Oh, don't worry about me. I'll be as quiet as a mouse.
Fine. Who was known as the serpent of Old Nile?
President Nasser.
Granny, I meant to be answering these.
Oh, sorry, Claire. Just instinctive, you know, when you know something.
Ask it again, Mummy.
Who was known as the serpent of Old Nile?
President Nasser.
No, you idiot. Cleopatra. You want me to go on, Claire?
Please.
Of the following cities, which is the furthest north? New York, Madrid, Rome, Peking.
Must be the least obvious.
If only Henry was here. He was good at geography.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was. Geography's a practical subject, and Henry was always very practical.
Mother, no. Henry was lovely in many, many ways, but he was not practical. He couldn't organise himself out of a paper bag.
But he was a doctor, Sarah.
Yes, I know he was a doctor, Mother. I was married to him for 20 years, and after a time you do begin to notice the telltale stethoscope and the furtive habit of slinking after the surgery every morning.
There's no need to be sarcastic, Sarah.
Mother,
Is it Peking?
No, it's not. I'll see you later. But when Mother said that, Russell, for a terrible moment I was suddenly afraid I didn't know what Henry had been like.
I think often the people you're closest to are the ones you know least.
Yes, you're right. In a sense, I didn't know Henry at all. It worked, that was the main thing. And I suppose I thought...
As Bob was saying only the other day, if it ain't broke, don't mend it.
Exactly. Henry dying has raised all sorts of questions that never seemed to matter when he was alive.
You haven't found out something unpleasant, have you? George Smiley hasn't arrived on your doorstep to tell you that your husband had been a Russian mole for years.
No. Anyway, Henry wasn't at Cambridge. It's a nice addition.
Isn't it? But, I'm afraid, slightly foxed.
Shame.
And you're getting worried that your image of Henry is becoming slightly foxed?
Yes, I suppose so. Now he's not around, it's difficult to keep him into perspective. Sometimes even difficult to remember exactly what he looked like.
You've got photographs.
Yes, but you know how photographs date. Think of wedding photographs. All over the country there are people wishing certain things hadn't been in fashion when they got married. But for the rest of their lives, the evidence is there on the mantelpiece, a perpetual source of cheap laughs to the children. Beehives, mini-skirts.
Flared trousers.
Yeah, you name it. Anyway, I'm afraid Henry's photographs have dated in just the same way.
Why don't you ask Clare
Ask her what?
how she remembers Henry?
Ooh, dangerous ground there. Clare always changes the subject when things get too emotional. Certainly whenever Henry's name comes up.
You can't lose anything by asking.
No true... Russell, which would you say was the furthest north? New York, Madrid, Rome or Peking?
Runs in the family, doesn't it?
What?
Changing the subject when things get too emotional.
Mr. Edwards. Mr. Edwards.
Yes? Oh, Mrs. Prescott. What can I do for you?
Mr. Mr. Edwards, a friend of mine has a rather embarrassing problem.
Oh, yes? And what exactly is your problem, Mrs. Prescott?
No, it's a friend of mine, really.
Yes, of course.
She gets very nervous on big public occasions, and I wondered if you could recommend something for her.
Oh, yes, I'd recommend her to avoid big public occasions.
Yes, but there is one she has to take part in. It's very important, and I wondered if you could give her something.
Well, I'm not a doctor, Mrs. Prescott. I can't prescribe.
Oh, Mr. Edwards, we don't need to worry the doctor about this, do we? I mean, I know what's needed. You know what to make up. Surely we can cut out the middleman.
And what do you think is needed?
Well, you know those things snooker players use?
What thing? Cues?
Don't be facetious, Mr. Edwards. Those things snooker players use to calm them down. Blockbusters.
Oh, you wouldn't be referring to beta blockers by any chance, would you?
Oh, yes,
And you're asking me to give you some beta blockers without prescription?
exactly. Can you help me? I'd like to remind you that I've bought all my paracetamol from this shop for the last few years.
Just a moment, Mrs. Prescott. I think these could be the answer.
Are they blockbusters?
Not exactly.
But will they work?
As with all medicine, Mrs. Prescott, if you think they'll work, they'll work.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Edwards.
Mrs. Prescott, aren't you going to pay?
Pensioner.
What game might you play? Ring, tour or handers?
Ring tour? Are you sure?
That's what it says here.
Don't know. Real tennis.
Marbles.
Marbles.
What kind of animal could be a hermit, a fiddler or a spider?
A crab.
Yes. Claire, how do you remember Daddy?
What? Don't understand the question.
I'm just asking you, how do you remember him?
I remember him like he was.
But how was he?
Well, he was... You know how he was.
Well, sometimes I find it difficult.
He was kind. He was a bit weak. It was sort of...
What do you mean weak?
Well, he always let you make the decisions.
Did he?
Yes. You know he did. Actually, Mummy, I've got to go. I'm meeting the rest of the building society team for a drink.
Claire, I want to know why you said that Daddy was...
Oh, Granny. Got to dash.
Sarah, dear, I wonder if I could impose on your goodwill for a few, just a few...
You what?
Oh, no. Not for long, honestly. Vera Poning's coming round shortly.
All right. I'll pick up where I left off with Claire. Which English... Which English...
What's funny, dear?
It's just... Sorry. It's just a question. You're just so unlikely to know the answer.
Oh, really? What is the question?
Well, Which English First Division football team was undefeated in 42 consecutive matches from the 20th of November 1977 until the 9th of December 1978?
Nottingham Forest.
What? Do you know that?
I know a lot of things that you don't know, Sarah. Ask me another, dear.
Right. All right. Who wrote The Female Eunuch?
Germaine Green.
Germaine Greer.
Oh, I meant Greer.
But you didn't say it. I'm sorry I have to take what you say first.
It was just a slip of the tongue. Give me half a point.
Mother, you're as bad as Clare.
I certainly am not. Of course I knew it was Germaine Greer. One of those dreadful feminists. Thank goodness all that sort of thing is going out of fashion. Soon we'll be back to women shaving their armpits again, as God intended. And back to the proper idea of marriage.
And what would you say was the proper idea of marriage?
Oh, that the men should make all the decisions.
What?
Well, come on, Sarah. Henry made all the decisions in your marriage, didn't he?
No, actually, I would have said... Well, I don't know, but... Next question. What was the name of the film in which Sylvester Stallone played a vengeful American Marine in Vietnam?
Dumbo.
No.
Yes, they should be working by now. Do you feel any different, Vera, dear?
Well, I'm really not sure, Eleanor.
Well, we'll do a little test. Now, I want you to imagine you're in front of a large audience.
Oh, dear.
And I want you to perform a simple act.
Oh, dear, oh, dear. What?
Well, say, go across to that table and pour out a glass of sherry.
Oh, very well. I'll try. A large audience, you say?
A very large audience.
Oh, dear.
I think, Vera, we may have to increase the dosage.
Oh, Russell. You know what bliss it is to be somewhere where nobody's involved in this wretched quiz.
Ah.
What do you mean you?
Two of the other shopkeepers along the street wanted to make up a team.
Which ones?
A bloke from the record shop and George Edwards, the pharmacist.
Oh, I know him. He used to work with Henry.
So I couldn't really say no.
No, of course not. What a team, though. Any questions on music, medicine or literature and you'll be home and dry.
Yes, it's the questions that aren't on music, medicine or literature that worry me. Anyway, how are things in the rival training camp?
Purgatory. That's why I'm late. I was ambushed by Clare demanding more questions. Then last night I had to go down and do time trials with Mother and Vera polling. And now I've discovered their two teams are drawn to meet in the first round.
Tears before bedtime.
And guess who'll have to mop them up?
Just hope that the League Against Cruel Sports doesn't find out about it. And are you still worried about Henry?
A slight foxing of my image of Henry. Yes, it doesn't seem to get any clearer. The image that Clare has of him and the image that Mother has are two completely different people. Don't even belong to the same species.
It's how you remember him that matters, Sarah.
Yes.
Henry is your specialist subject.
Yes. Right, Mrs. France, you have 2 minutes on the life and work of Dr. Henry France, starting now.
What colour was Dr. France's hair?
Light brown.
What colour were his eyes?
Sort of hazel.
How tall was he?
5'11½". Though he always said after a day in the surgery he was down 5'10".
What was his favourite food?
Like fish. Plain Dover sole, just grilled with a green salad upon the musket.
I'm sorry, Sarah. I shouldn't be doing this.
No, it helps.
Please, Stop crying.
It's all right, Russell. I've started, so I'll finish.
Mr. Edwards.
What? Oh, Mrs. Prescott.
I wondered if you could do me a repeat prescription.
A repeat prescription? Oh, what for those,
Blockbusters, yes.
Well, how can I give you a repeat prescription when you didn't have a prescription in the first place?
Now, don't quibble, Mr. Edwards. Come on, hand them over.
Honey, you're the last person I'd ever thought of as a junkie.
They're not for me, Mr. Edwards, I told you. They're for a friend. Vera Poling is the junkie.
I'm going to have to hurry you. Come on, what's a surcingle?
Is it a term used in cricket?
No, a surcingle is a strap for holding a saddle on an animal's back.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Are you going to be allowed to take as long as that to answer in the real quiz?
No, they're very strict on time. Suppose we ought to practice of speed.
Oh, I'm not sure that it's fair on someone of my age.
That's how it'll be on the night, Granny. At the end, there's a round where whoever gets in first gets the points.
Oh, dear.
All right, whoever answers first gets it. You ready?
Yes.
Here we go, then. Who wrote the Pickwick Papers?
Dickens.
Doesn't seem too much wrong with your speed, Mother. You were both there together, weren't you?
Oh, I think I was first, dear.
No, you weren't.
I certainly was.
For heaven's sake, you put two bad losers
Hey, that's
together.
not fair.
No, it certainly isn't, Sarah. Calling us bad losers. I'm not a bad loser. Clare is, but I'm not.
Look, I am not a bad loser.
Listen. How do they do it in the actual quiz? How do they decide who gets in first?
I think they have buzzers.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. My kitchen isn't equipped with buzzers, I'm afraid.
Don't worry, dear. If Clare and I each take our teaspoons and bang on our cups when we know the answer, that'll do just as well as a buzzer, won't it?
Well,
Let's try it.
all right. Are you set?
Yes.
Right. Wait for it, Mother.
Sorry, dear.
Who was known as Old Ironsides?
I'm sorry, Sarah. But I did get in first, didn't I?
Yes. Yes, you did. Well?
Well, what?
Well, who was known as Old Ironsides?
Oh, dear, I don't know. But I did get in first, didn't I?
Eleanor, dear, I thought you invited me here for a pre-match drink.
So I did. And here it is.
Well, I was thinking more in terms of something alcoholic.
I know what you were thinking, Vera, dear. But I'm sorry. Not while you're in training. And certainly not while you're on drugs. Now, did you do that revision I mentioned?
Yes, Eleanor.
The kings and queens of England. Sorted them out, have you?
Well, I think so. Could you just remind me?
Willie, Willie, Harry, C, Harry, Dick, John, Harry, 3. 1, 2, 3, Ned's, Richard, 2. Henry, 4, 5, 6, then 2. Edward, 4, 5, Dick the Bad, Harris, Twain, and Ned the Lad. Mary, Bessie, James the Vain, Charlie, Charlie, James again. William and Mary, Anna, Gloria, 4 Georges, William and Victoria. Got that?
Well, I hope so. But aren't you forgetting the kings and queens after Victoria?
Well, I was assuming you'd be able to remember the ones in your own lifetime, Vera.
There you are.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Mommy.
Pint for you, George.
Lovely, Sarah, thank you.
And bitter lemons for you, too.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Not on the gin, Eleanor?
No. Vera and I want to keep our wits about us this evening.
I always think I've got more wits after a couple of drinks.
Yes, I'm sure you think that, dear, but it's a known fact that alcohol slows down the brain.
Aye, aye, aye. Stop it. No psychological warfare. I want this to be a clean fight. No hitting below the belt and break when you're told to.
Quite nervous, actually. My mind seems to have gone a complete blank.
Yes, well, that would be the drink.
Mother!
You know that one about which city is furthest north? When I looked on the map in the end, it's quite surprising, isn't it?
Yes.
Just a minute, now, quick revision. Now, which were the cities?
New York, Madrid, Rome, Peking.
That's right. And the furthest north was Madrid. Oh, no, I can't even remember the ones I did know.
That'd be the drink again.
Mother! All right, come on, you with your bitter lemon and all your wits about you. Do you remember which was the furthest north?
Of course, dear. It's Peking. What?
It's Rome.
Oh, dear. Now I am worried.
That'd be the bitter lemon, slows down the brain, you know.
Now, listen, Claire. Claire, I didn't know you were on those things.
They're quite harmless. Only glucose to give me energy.
Oh, is that what they are? Well, really, talk about starting with a handicap.
Is this thing working? Oh, good, yes, please. Hello. Good evening, everyone. And welcome to the Red Cows Quiz Night. Now, let's have the first two teams who are going to do battle up here straight away, shall we?
As I said, there'll be tears before bedtime.
And now a question for the Bridge Club Buccaneers. This one's for you, Vera. Who succeeded to the throne of England on the death of Henry I?
Steve.
I beg your pardon?
Stephen.
Is the right answer. So that correct answer brings us to a very exciting part of the quiz. We have a tie. 15 points to the Bridge Club Buccaneers and 15 points to the Building Society Brain Boxes. So that brings us to a tie break. This one is a buzzer question.
Exciting stuff.
Nail biting.
Which side are you rooting for, Sarah?
Oh, more than my life's worth to answer that, George.
Both teams with fingers on the buzzers? Yes? Well, I will read you the question.
Sorry.
Ignoring that, I will read you the question. And just to cheer you up, may I say, this one's a real stinker. What is known as Nick-a-Nan Night? Clare for the Building Society.
In Cornwall, Nick-a-Nan Night is the name given to the night before Shrove Tuesday.
Is the right answer.
How on earth did she know that?
Not just a pretty face, my dear.
Sarah, doesn't Claire look like Henry when she does that?
What?
But when she throws her head back in relief, that's just what Henry used to do.
Yes, that's just what Henry used to do. Oh, George, you've just brought Henry right back to life for me. I can see him exactly now.
What? Oh, look, I'm sorry, Sarah. I didn't...
Don't be sorry, thank you.
Better, Sarah.
Hey, Mummy, how about that then?
Well done, love. Terrific.
Yes, no, who'd have thought that question was possibly...
Well, really.
Bad luck, Mother. Still, you did awfully well.
Yes. Well done, both of you.
Would have done better if a certain person hadn't completely lost her bottle. And that last question was ridiculous.
Come on, Mother, you're not going to be a bad loser.
It's not a matter of being a bad loser, Sarah. It's just that the question was unfair. I mean, even you must admit it was farcical, Claire. Nick-a-Nan Night, really.
I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. I thought everybody knew about Nick-a-Nan Night.